Hey guys, welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to look upon introduction of microcontrollers and architecture of 8051 microcontroller. Okay, microcontroller, the heart of embedded systems and most of the electronic applications. Before getting into that, let us have a discussion on processor. What is a processor? What will it do? A processor will execute programs. Will it have a memory? No. We have to include a memory, that is a RAM and ROM, to store the program and data for the execution of program. Memory, that is a RAM and ROM. ROM, which is a permanent memory, and it is non-volatile. That is, when you switch off the power, the contents of the memory inside it will not get erased. And RAM, which is temporary, and it is volatile. That is, when you switch off the power, the contents inside the memory will get erased. And the next important thing is input-output ports. Okay, we have a program and we have data. How can we get the output from the program? And how can we give the input to the program? These are done through input and output ports. And the next thing is timers. Timers are one which produces delay by counting. Okay, now let us go with an practical example. Consider a washing machine that have many modes such as softer washing modes, harder washing modes, and we can also choose the water level based on the quantity of cloths we are using. So this definitely needs a program, and for giving data and getting output, we need a input output ports. And of course we know that washing machines in washing machines we can set timers. Okay, now think, what if we include the processor, memory, input output ports, timers, everything in a washing machine? Of course, it includes more and more space. What is the need of that to put everything inside the washing machine? Will it going to do more and more computation, or we are going to make intense programming in washing machine? We are going to calculate 1 plus 2 in washing machine? No, definitely not. It needs a single program and we are going to give particular data inside it. So we are making all these things in a single chip called microcontroller. Okay, now let us sync all these things with the practical machines. Processor. We need a program to run the washing machine that will be executed by this processor. We need memories, RAM and ROM. That is, each and every time when you use washing machine, you are not going to program the washing machine that how it is going to be work. That is done permanently inside the ROM. That is, ROM is always a program memory. And the next thing is RAM. That is, the data you give it inside the machine. When you select the water level when you switch on the washing machine, it must be deleted when you switch off the washing machine. The next time when you use washing machine, you must give fresh inputs. So the data are always stored in RAM. It is a data memory. The next thing is input output ports. Okay, you are pressing buttons that are inputs in the machines, and we get displays on how much time it requires to complete the process. Those are output ports. And the next one is timer. The perfect example of timers will be air conditioners. Before going to sleep, you are switching on an air conditioner and you want it to switch off automatically after an hour. Now you will set timer for an hour. This timer produces delay by counting. After an hour, it gives information to processor and processor switch off the AC automatically. This is the use of timers. You can ask that Why shouldn't we need the delay inside we insert the delay inside the program? That is, I mean software delays. Those can be produced by programs we are like we are using for loops in programs so that we can produce software delays in a machine. But this delay needs the utilization of processor. You want the processor to do some other work during the delay. So in this microcontrollers, we are using hardware physical timers. And the next thing is serial ports. Okay. The input and output ports in the microcontroller are parallel. In serial ports, we can give serial data, that is data one after the another. Okay, now let's get into the architecture of 8051. As I said, we have a central processing unit, we have on-chip RAM and RAM, we have two timers in 8051 microcontroller, and then we have serial ports, we have parallel IO ports, and another important thing is bus control. We need system buses to transfer data and address between the components of the microcontroller. We have a 8-bit data bus in 8051 and 16-bit address bus in this. Okay, we have internal interrupt controls and oscillator. Let us look on this deeply. First of all, we have a CPU that contains arithmetic logic unit and accumulator, that is A register and B register and program counter, stack pointer, data pointer, and program status word. Okay, now we know that arithmetic logic unit performs arithmetic and logic operations. Arithmetic and logic operations. And next one is accumulator. Accumulator is an 8-bit register. This holds the source operand and also the result produced or output produced by the arithmetic logic unit. The next one is B register, which is also an 8-bit register. These accumulator and B register together called as math registers. And the next one is program counter. It is an 16-bit register which holds the address of the next instruction to be fetched from the memory. This will be automatically incremented during the execution of the current instruction. That is, it will not always incremented by 1. Since many instructions are 2 or 3 bytes, this will incremented by 2 or 3 in that cases. And the next one is stack pointer. Stack is the one which follows the rule last in first out. That is, the last data we have put inside the stack can be removed from the stack at first. This is a stack pointer is a 16-bit register which holds the address of the top of the stack. This is stack which holds the address of the top of the stack. And the next one is data pointer. Data pointer is also a 16-bit register, but it can also be used as a 2 8-bit register, that is data pointer high and data pointer low. Okay, this is used in cases like indirect jumps and lookup table, etc. These are 8-bit. And the next thing is the that is the internal address of these DPH and DPL are 83 hexadecimal number and 82 hexadecimal number. DPH and DPL. These are the addresses of these, that is DPH and DPL. And the next thing is program status word. And now program status word is an 8-bit register. It is also called as flag register. It is used to hold the status of the data in accumulator. It contains flags, namely carry flag, auxiliary carry flag, parity flag, overflow flag, and RS0 and RS1 pins, and FO. Carry flag is one that is which sets when there is an overflow in bit 7 during arithmetic and logic operations. This will be also used in borrow during subtraction. And auxiliary flag, this will be set when there is an overflow in bit 3. And parity flag will be set, that is P is equal to 1 when number of ones in the data are odd, and P is equal to 0 when the number of ones in the data are even. Overflow flag is mainly used in case of signed numbers. That is, we know that the sign of the number is usually stored in the higher byte. During the operation of signed numbers, if there is an overflow in the higher byte, then this overflow flag will be set during operation on signed numbers. And RS0 and RS1. These pins are used as register bank select pins. That is, it is used to select register banks. We are having 4 register banks in 8051. They are register bank 0, register bank 1, register bank 2, and register bank 3. We have RS0 and RS1 pins. When these two pins have a 0 value, then register bank 0 will be selected, and in this way the corresponding banks will be selected. And these register banks are the divisions, one of the division of internal RAM. This we see in some time. And F0 is for general use for users. It is for use of the user. And now let us look at an example for these flags. Let us have an addition operation of 9B hexadecimal number and 65 hexadecimal number. That is 1001. When we add these numbers, this sum will generate the value 0 and carry 1. The same thing. Okay, finally here is a carry value. That is, here is a overflow in bit 7. So now the carry flag will be set, and the next one is auxiliary carry flag. Here is also an overflow in bit 3. This is bit 0, 1, 2 and 3. Bit 3 generates a carry value, and so auxiliary flag will also be set. Now on parity flag, here the number of ones is odd. So we have P is equal to 1. Okay, now we have seen the central processing unit. Okay guys, let's see the continuation of this in the next video.